All right, Lorenzo Alexander is here. We talked about the quarterback situation a little bit, just in terms of what it means now going forward this season, Wolf. But we gotta go big picture. Obviously, I think that's what a lot of people are looking at right now. This is Chris Canty from earlier today.
This is the soft benching leading to the long goodbye for Kyler Murray. We're done with him. It's over. It is. And you can see the difference in how the team plays with Jacoby Brissett at the controls as opposed to what we've gotten from Kyler. Jacoby Brissett has started the last 3 games, 3 straight games with multiple passing touchdowns. Kyler Murray ain't did that in 5 years. Last time that happened was 2020 for number 1 in Arizona. He hasn't lived up to being the number 1 overall pick. He just hasn't. And they've cycled through coaches and general managers, and he's been the common denominator to the futility that has been the Arizona Cardinals. It's time. It's over for him in the desert. And we're seeing that now in real time. They've taken it off the board in terms of Jacoby Brissett having to look over his shoulder and having to play the results week to week. They've given this locker room some certainty when it comes to who's going to be under center for them, and it's going to be Jacoby Brissett, and Jacoby Brissett has earned that.
All right, so those are pretty strong words.
Yeah.
He's not the only one saying it, though, Zoe. I mean, that's out there.
And I think that's the most respectful way you can say something like, right, Chris Canty played against him, same era, really love and you know, how he presents things, right? He understands how hard it is to play in this league, right? And I think while he was praying Jacoby Brissett and what he's been able to do for this team, also showing respect and just kind of pointing out what Kyler hasn't been able to do from a production standpoint. And guess what? It's okay, right? You've made it to the league, first-round pick. You've played quarterback for 7 years, and there's a lot of guys that just aren't good enough to step over that extra line, and that's okay. You still pretty dope, right?
Yeah.
25,000 guys, right? It is what it is from that standpoint of this is what you've been able to produce here, right? And so from that standpoint, I agree wholeheartedly with Chris Canty that Kyler Murray will be somewhere different next year, and that doesn't mean that he can't reinvent himself and figure it out somewhere else like a couple other guys and countless other guys have had to do prior to him. So
can I just jump in and say, Zoe, that I do believe that Kyler Murray's going to do better somewhere else because it's going to be the absolute frying pan to the face to wake him up.
I agree, depending where he lands. Like, he needs to land in, like, Pittsburgh or something if this really plays out. Or somewhere. I mean, he's got to fit the offense, but he needs, like, a coach like that that's going to get him on track, I guess.
Correct, because I don't know if he ended up with and he won't be in Denver, but what's my man in Denver right now?
Sean Payton.
Sean Payton.
Yeah.
That a coach like that
might not work.
Wouldn't help his game at all. He needs someone that's gonna be tough love, but is gonna approach him a certain type of way, right?
Put him in a position to succeed.
To succeed and not MF him everywhere he goes, right?
You're saying BA would not be a good way to go.
No, BA would not be a good way to go. You could be balling and BA may come to you off of one play and MF you, man. Like, my God, BA, I thought I was your guy. I thought I was your 5-star. So, again, I agree with where this situation is as far as from a quarterback standpoint. I had brought up earlier or a couple of weeks ago about another guy I had been around, second-round pick. It didn't work out, and they said goodbye to you by putting you on IR, and you can kind of disappear off into wherever you go because you no longer really have to be in the facility.
That's right.
You can go rehab, get your surgery, whatever that may be. It also protects him from getting hurt if he had to go into the game. And if it's a minor thing, right, it's not going to drop his value as far as him as a quarterback. He is who he is in terms of what he's been able to produce over the last 7 years. People are going to make an evaluation off of that, especially with a foot injury that if last week he had an opportunity to have a role on the field, it can't be too severe, right? And so he just has to get healthy and get his mind right for that next opportunity that he's going to have. And I think it's the right decision in terms of allowing Jacoby to be the starter and not have to worry about answering the questions week in and week out because that becomes a distraction too. Okay, well, when is Kyler coming back?
Yeah.
How you doing your thing? hey, JG, you got to keep answering the questions over and over. And then Jacoby,
it it's not just Jacoby.
Yes,
it's
everybody
that
have to speak. And I've had to deal with that. Like, you got to keep talking. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Hey, we know Kyler, and Jacoby's doing his thing. And when Kyler, you kind of have to be in the middle in the
Can't
gray.
say the wrong thing either.
Right, you got to be very mindful.
Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. saying good things about Jacoby Brissett, and people are like, that means they hate Kyler.
Right,
no, it just means they're saying good things about the guy who's starting.
Exactly. So it alleviates a lot of pressure off of everyone that's in that locker room, head coach, everybody, media guys. You just don't have to worry about it because everybody knows who's the starter now moving forward and where Kyler's at. And, depending on if he comes off of IR, which I don't probably see it at this point, you don't have to worry about for the rest of the season. You just worry about playing football and answering football questions.
Do you think, and maybe you've kind of already answered this, but like the decision's already made then behind, it doesn't matter really what Jacoby Brissett does the rest of this season in terms of your big picture? It may impact like if Jacoby's your guy next year, if you're drafting a guy or whatever. But as far as Kyler, do you think anything that happens on the field now this season is going to impact that?
Then you got to think about, right, so he went on IR, so he had to beat it for 4 games.
Yep.
And then when he comes back, is it worth putting him out there if you've already made the decision that he's not our guy moving forward? Now you risk injury, and now you're on.
Can I just jump in and say this, though? It's interesting that the injury is 4 to 8 weeks. 4 to 8 weeks. Imagine if it's the 8.
That's the season.
What that does. That's the season.
4 is almost the season.
It might as well be the season. I'm going to sit out all this time. So it's really hard to play quarterback, to go and sit out all that time and come back and you've already kind of been up and down. To jump into something that's, rolling is really hard to do. And at that point, what is the benefit to really either party? Right, because if I go out there and play bad, I ruin my chances or my value. Right, I can't go anywhere else, and at this point, I don't know if he's going to go out there, and if he gets hurt, then that really hurts things.
And if he goes out there and if he plays well, it muddies the
waters. Right?
It's like you're almost in a no-win situation.
Yeah, you just make the shift. They made it. Now you rock and roll with JB. And then who's the backup now? I haven't even gotten that far.
Slovis would be the backup
so
right now.
If he JB gets hurt, that's who goes in, and you just got to roll with the hand that you've kind of put yourself in at this point.
They also just signed Jeff Driscoll.
Oh, man, did they?
I feel like they do that every year. Just your annual Jeff Driscoll signing right there. Well, then my question for both of you guys is, and this probably is influenced by how the rest of the season goes, but if you move on from Kyler after this year, who's your quarterback next year? Like, are you going to the draft? Are you going with Jacoby Brissett? Are you going with Jacoby, but you have a draft a rookie to learn behind him? Or, like, what's the plan there?
Yeah, that's something that, Monty's thinking about right now as far as who's going to be free agents. What does the draft class look like? What assets do we have? And then how do we finish the season in how far do we have to move up to get a guy that we actually like and think is viable to replace Jacoby Brissett? So it's just that's something that we can't answer now.
Yeah.
Ideally, right, Jacoby is probably not your franchise guy. He's a really good quarterback.
Yep.
But franchise for the next, 10 years, he's not that guy. And so you do have to start kind of figuring out who's the next, who's going to be that guy that you can build teams around and hopefully go to perennial playoff games and win a championship with. And that's why you have Monty Ossenfort right now doing that.
Yeah, he's gonna.
I'm with you on this.
Money on
I
this
really am. I think honestly, Jacoby Brissett is somebody I want on this team.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. Especially if you are going to draft a young quarterback. But I think that's what they're going to do if they can do it in the draft.
Yeah,
if they can target somebody they really like, I could see that happening. But that's a big if.
That's a lot of ifs. That's a ways down the line. But I'm sure they at least have to think about it when they make a decision like this. Like, do we have a plan if these 3 things happen?
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.